They did it. Yeah, they did it. A couple weeks late in this video, but the New York Knicks are 2026 NBA champions. And yes, I got a bunch of the posts here. Look at this. One right here. Champs right here. The OMG OG one right there. Love this one. Yes, print media is still alive and well. Party like it's 1999. It's weird for me to say that my team, the New York Knicks, are 2026 NBA champions. Now, I know I haven't made a video kind of as much long-form videos on this channel, too, and this is kind of like not even like a really crazy setup, a random one. It's been a couple weeks. I was away 2 weekends ago, actually, when they won the championship, and during the past week I was working, so I didn't have enough time to do as much content, whatever, too. And even on YouTube, I haven't made that much long-form videos on YouTube. This is more of like just like a casual talk back and forth, too. They did it. I know it's 2 weeks later, but I'm still hyped up about it. It's weird because I've been making content for a while now, mainly on TikTok is where I started. YouTube been going a little bit back and forth. Now doing more jersey stuff on there. Fonz Talk jerseys. If you want to check that out too. So like when the Ravens won, my team Ravens, Knicks, Mets. Ravens won in 2012. I wasn't making any videos back then. Mets made the World Series in 2015. I wasn't making videos back then either. So I would say like around COVID was when I kind of started making videos. So the first time really kind of seeing my team win a championship. And to win it like that, I mean, can we just talk about how like a dominant run that whole team's had the postseason? And I did buy a bunch of gear. The shirts are still coming in. I don't know when they're going to come in. I might buy some more stuff. I got the car flag. I'm not going to really put it on my car. I'm going to probably put it somewhere here. I don't know exactly where to put it. I got to find a way to stick it somewhere. I have no idea. I got all the newspapers too, like you just saw in the intro. Print media is alive and well, honestly. I mean, nothing beats a good newspaper. And really, I mean, listen, I don't want to talk about the Mets. We're not going to talk about that. That's a whole nother story. But this is a Knicks video here. The fact that they won, it's still kind of 2 weeks later, it's still crazy to me. It really is. Really kind of with this whole Knicks season and overall with this Knicks team, if we really want to think about it, just what they kind of did, the whole theme of it was that they took a lot of risk here. I mean, even the first thing you think of, Tom Thibodeau, who, when he was hired a couple years ago, brought back relevancy to the Knicks. Because remember, in the 2000s and the early 2010s, the Knicks were kind of a laughingstock in the league. Thibodeau comes in, changes the culture of the team, has had consistent playoff, playoff berths, and has made the playoffs. They even made it to the conference finals a couple of years ago. And you would think he's like your consistent coach, not getting over the hump to the finals, but at least making the playoffs in consistent years. And then they took the risk of letting Thibodeau go and bringing in a guy like Mike Brown. And look, at the time, I wasn't sure about Mike Brown. Mike Brown was a coach for a long time for a number of different teams, was an assistant with the Warriors, won a couple of rings there. But he was fired from multiple teams, the Cavaliers, the Lakers, even the Kings recently, brought the Kings back to relevancy. But you weren't sure because you're like, Thibodeau to Mike Brown, was that a downgrade? And a lot of other risk involved with the roster itself, too. Starting a couple of years ago when you traded away fan favorites and R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, two guys that fans really loved and two guys thought were the building blocks of the future. Trading a guy like OG Anunoby, a defensive-minded phenomenon, really, great player, love OG. But you trade away two guys that the fans absolutely loved in RJ and Quickly. I was a big fan of Quickly. And then kind of after that, trading away Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo, not too long ago, was the hero for a couple of games against the Sixers, too, in the second round of the playoffs a couple seasons before. And Julius Randle, say what you want about him. I'm still a big Randle fan. I always will be. He came back. He came to the Knicks when the Knicks were kind of relevant. We were wanting guys like Kyrie, Kevin Durant, Zion, that whole thing. Signed Julius Randle. Him and Thibodeau brought back the relevancy to the Knicks. And trading those two guys away for a guy in Karl Anthony Towns, a top player, don't get me wrong. But again, it was kind of a thing where like it was the same thing kind of with a lot of other stars. Towns is good, but can he get you over the hump? Can he get you to a championship? And other risks, too, trading 5 picks for Mikal Bridges, 5 first-round picks, trading a couple of guys for Josh Hart, who was bouncing around a couple of teams. And, of course, the big one, let's talk about it, Jalen Brunson. Because if we're going to be real here, Jalen Brunson, great player when he was on the Mavericks, but we didn't think he'd turn into this. I personally didn't think he would. I thought he would be a good player for the Knicks and a good guy to kind of build around with Randall at the time, but I didn't think he'd turn into this. None of us really thought that. Kind of being the backup guard to Luka Doncic in Dallas actually turned out to be really well when Luka was down. Another risk they took in bringing him in. So just overall, this Knicks team the past couple of years was taking risks of some guys where they had a little bit of success after a couple of years of embarrassment and being like, you know what, we can turn things around with these guys and flip them from some other guys. And it turned out to be, here we are, NBA champions. right there. And another thing, too, at least with Mike Brown, what he did this whole season, which I think kind of we talked with Thibodeau for the past couple of years, is that Thibodeau was reluctant to really make a lot of rotation changes or have, like, different rotations to try things out, even in the regular season. We saw in the playoffs a couple of years ago what happened. The same guys were playing all the time, and everybody got hurt. Randall was hurt. Mitch was hurt. OG was hurt. Brunson had a little bit of an injury here and there. We ended up only playing at one point just 5 guys because he just didn't want to play anybody else. And what did Mike Brown really do kind of throughout the season too, which we kind of questioned because there was a down spot here and there during the season. He played a bunch of different guys in a different kind of rotation, different guys to come off the bench to see kind of what would click and what would work leading into the playoffs. A couple of games, it was Deuce McBride coming off the bench being the spark plug. A couple other games, it was Landry Shamet, especially in the playoffs. Jordan Clarkson a little bit here and there too. Starting Ariel Hawk-Porty at the center spot with Towns at the 4 a couple of times too, because why not? Tyler Kolak playing a couple of games as well, too, some extended minutes. Again, trying a bunch of different rotations, even having Josh Hart come off the bench here and there, too. Just kind of Mike Brown's, like, rotations and kind of game management, doing all that stuff. He did a very good job this season and keeping everybody relatively healthy. I know OG missed, I think, 1 game in the Sixers series. I'm not sure if anybody else, I don't know if he missed any other games, but yeah, outside of that, there wasn't anything. I know Brunson had a little bit of a scare in the finals, but it didn't work. It didn't matter because, again, champions. Just happy about it. And again, this is kind of a video. I don't have any crazy setup here. No highlights, no nothing. It was me chit-chatting because, again, I had some time finally to sit down and talk about it because I haven't really had a chance to do that. And even watching the NBA draft, which I forgot about, it was weird. It was the first time I watched the NBA draft where I wasn't, like, you know, hyper-focused on because I'm so used to the team getting a high draft pick and seeing who they were going to get with said high draft pick. And that also didn't matter. It felt good to watch it because, like, it wasn't like a big thing for me in the offseason. But even in the whole finals, too, against the Spurs, too, the Spurs were up for majority of the finals games, and even in Game 4, too. But this team just didn't give up whatsoever. Brunson, OG, Cat, Mikal, Josh Hart, everybody. Down to the bench, too. Shamet had a couple of threes also. This team just didn't give up. They could have been down. They were literally down by 29, and they came back and won that on a tip-in, too. Games 1 and 2, they were down a little bit, and they came back also. Game 5, the beginning parts, you weren't sure about it. Even in Game 3, they ended up losing. But still, like, overall, this team did not give up, and they played with a lot of heart and grit. Like, this is just a tough team. I think that's something like we can all appreciate. At least this fits the New York Knicks and the New York mentality very well. And again, it finally just felt good to see a team, at least a team that I watch, my favorite team, just click together, and it was really nice. And again, it might be a little bias aside here, but I think with the Knicks losing only 3 games in the playoffs, again, 4-2 to the Hawks, sweeping the Sixers and the Cavaliers, and losing only 1 to the Spurs, this is probably one of the more dominant postseason runs I've ever seen in recent memory, too. Again, there might be some others that I'm forgetting here, maybe in the 90s and the 80s, I don't know. Maybe, again, recency bias, fan bias, but that was just a dominant postseason run. Now, of course, maybe a little bit of luck here, and they didn't have to play the Pacers, which somehow, for some reason, they just get all tied up against. They didn't play the Celtics. They lost to the 76ers. And even in the finals, too, they didn't play an experienced team like the Nuggets. But still, you play with what you get. Every other team went through the same stuff, too. And the fact that they did it was incredible. Now, this offseason is going to be a lot of questions. I don't know what Dolan's going to do in the second apron. Doesn't want to do it. I want them to bring back Shamet, all those guys. Alvarado, another guy I aren't even mentioned. Again, another risk guy they brought in too. Jose Alvarado, they brought him. Had a little bit of struggles here and there and came back well. He's going to be coming back. I would love Mitch to come back as the backup center, but I think he's going to get paid somewhere else. It would suck, but you know, I would think it'd be well-deserved for him, but I would love to see him back in New York. He's been there since 2018. Another risk guy he drafted in the second round who didn't play college ball, a guy who had a year away from high school. That was, again, just every player on the roster I'm thinking about has had so many questions and risks. You're like, oh, is this guy going to be fit to play on the roster here? And like, as far as risk of like acquiring to get this player. But I will say this for Spurs fans, I think the Spurs, they're definitely going to be back. They're definitely going to be a consistent playoff and probably finals team. Wembanyama is going to be another year older, and I think he's going to learn a lot from this finals experience. He's definitely going to be around for a lot longer. Stephon Castle and Devin Vassell, those two guys are very good too. And Dylan Harper, I think just watching him, I didn't watch that much of him throughout the season, a little bit here and there. I know of him, but I think this guy, after seeing him in the finals, he's going to be a star. He's going to be a star player for the Spurs. He's going to be very good too. If they can get a couple other younger guys, maybe some other veterans that can play around with this squad, they will be a challenge also, though. And of course, the other guys, like I mentioned too, on the West, the Thunder, the Nuggets. If LeBron goes back to the Lakers, you know he'll still be a threat also, and a bunch of other teams, Rockets too. And, of course, the East, Giannis now going to Miami. You got the pace with Halliburton coming back. The Celtics are still a fine-tuned squad. So it's going to be a powerhouse, the Pistons too, and a bunch of other teams. So can the Knicks run it back? I do believe so. I definitely do think they're going to make the playoffs once again to make a deep playoff run. I also think that as well, too. A lot of things got to fall in their favor, but that's just in general how it is with the NBA, I feel like, especially when it comes to playoff time when it's a long NBA season. But overall, this Knicks team made me very happy and was very good this whole season throughout. There was a little bit of a downtime in the middle of the season where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen here. And again, a bunch of risk. That was the main thing. That was the main thing this season. But it all paid off in the end because we got an NBA championship in New York. Go New York. Go New York. Go New York, go. And the vibes, too, in this city were great. I watched 3 of the 4 games, 3 of the 5 in New York City in bars and 2. And the atmosphere was incredible. It was great. I was on the island for Game 3, and that was also the vibes were great, too. Game 5, I was away with some friends, and that was still fun, too, also. So, overall, the vibes of the city were really good. I will say the parade, listen, I understand tradition of the Champions Row, whatever it's called. I get it, but I think if you haven't won a championship in 53 years, you should extend the parade. I maybe start there, and I get it for tradition, but expand it out more. Can you imagine if they did it to Central Park and did like the ceremony there? That would have been a lot of fun. It would have been a lot more fun, I think. It would have been a lot of a better experience, I would say. I tried getting down there, and my cousins were like, they got there at 7, like, yeah, it's not worth going. So I'm like, you know what? I love this team, but like, I'm not going to go down there and be packed like a sardine. You couldn't even bring anything, too. So, my anxiousness wouldn't have liked it because I wouldn't have been having to like water bottle or anything with me too. So maybe next year they'll improve the parade. Who knows? Just take the New York City Marathon and make that the parade route. That would be golden. And the business will be booming there, and New York would make a lot of money if they made that the parade route. But that's the only bad side of the Knicks winning the championship. But if that's the only bad thing, that's fine too. But I'm happy the Knicks won. Again, I just wanted to make kind of a quick video on this channel because I haven't made a long-form one in quite some time. I'm trying to get back into making long-form videos, not just on my Fonz Talk Jersey channel, which you definitely check out, but on here as well, and making some TikToks and Instagram Reels. So I want to make some long-form stuff. A lot of other things on this channel I want to do a lot more. So, again, thank you so much for checking out a video on here, whether it's the first time you're seeing me or you've been watching past videos, if you saw on TikTok and you found a video on here. I appreciate it. If you're a New Jersey fanatic, you found this on my other channel, again, I appreciate it. So, got a lot of stuff coming on, not just Fonz Talk Jersey, but also here as well. Got some things lined up, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that. The brand is moving really well in 2026, and a lot more is coming in the back half of 2026, which is very weird for me to say, but I appreciate and love all of you guys checking out this video on here. Have a good day, good night, good evening, whenever you're watching this said video, and let's go Knicks. I love y'all. Run it back, baby. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Peace out.